Hello, everybody from Miami, Florida. We're more in the center, close to Florida City and Homestead, than we are to the downtown Miami. This is your host, Roberto Alvarez-Galloso, otherwise known as Dr. Rob, for the Americana Bistro Grill. And I have the pleasure and honor of having one of the greatest singer-songwriters and one of the greatest multifaceted people I have ever met in YouTube, Sarah Faith. For me, it's a pleasure and an honor having you here.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Sarah, we're going to talk about your music career. How did you get started? Where are you right now? And how do you see your future in the music world?
Well, I think if I take it way back, I started as a 7-year-old girl with a microphone in her bedroom. You know, we all kind of sing to the radio, and I was singing to Britney Spears at the time before she got weird, and I was doing the just dreaming thing as just a young kid. I was probably singing before I could talk, and I was in choir my whole life, and got a guitar when I was 13, and just really always loved music. And then I think, life gets in the way and tells you that those dreams aren't real, and you have to get a real job and blah, blah, blah. So I went to college and got a real job and was just really unhappy. So right now I live in Nashville. I'm originally from Michigan. I'm a Detroit girl. So I moved to Nashville about 4 years ago, and I'm a songwriter. I'm an artist. I'm a guitar player. And in the future, I'm just really looking to impact people with songs that I write. My goal is that the music that I write is not only therapy for myself, but therapy for anyone that listens to it. Because I'm really approaching songwriting with a very unafraid, very authentic kind of attitude. I'm not afraid to tell it like it is. And I'm not afraid to talk about things that I've been through, because I know that there's people that have gone through that stuff too, that really kind of need it. So it kind of gives me a little courage to just kind of put it out there.
Yeah, well, just like you're from Detroit, Michigan, I'm originally from Akron, Ohio. Actually known right now as the Cleveland, Akron area.
Okay.
Which leads me to the next question. You participated in the Goodyear Garage to Glory contest or festival. Tell me about your participation in the Goodyear Garage to Glory.
So that started out as a targeted Facebook ad that I clicked on because I was like, I don't think this is for real, but what the heck? I was obviously months down the road very pleasantly surprised, but it was a contest that asked me a few questions to enter, and I answered them as real as I could, and found out that I made it to the top 3 of the contest, which it was me as a female solo artist from Nashville, originally from Detroit. And then the other 2 finalists were 2 completely male bands that were from the Cleveland area. So for me, as a solo female artist, I was like, there is no chance for me in this competition. As a solo artist, I'm not from there. They probably have a lot of fans. I know Goodyear is from Akron, from Cleveland. Like, I just don't have a chance. But it went to a fan vote. There were 80,000 votes in the competition, and I ended up winning. So it was just like a very surreal, just a very cool experience, one that I would never take for granted and definitely could never have seen coming.
Good. In addition to the Goodyear Garage to Glory, you also participated in a concert, if I'm not mistaken, in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland.
That's right.
How was your experience with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame of Cleveland?
It was awesome. I thought that I was getting one full band performance during the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction week, and I ended up getting 2. So I performed as a full band on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Plaza during induction week, and then they offered me a solo acoustic spot in the museum to play for, I think it was like either 45 minutes or an hour for one of their Rock Nights events, which is very, very cool. And they also allowed me to attend the Hall of Fame induction ceremony that year. So that was really awesome.
Great. You've recorded it recently. You've recorded a CD which is also available digitally, called Come Alive. How were you, what inspired you to record Come Alive, and how can you compare it with other albums that you've recorded, such as Free and Lessons from the Archives, which are also, in my opinion, masterpieces?
Well, I appreciate that. So, Lessons from the Archives is my debut album. I was working with a producer at the time. Once that album was out, then I went through a divorce, and that's what completely inspired this most recent album, Come Alive, because I really felt like I was in a position of kind of feeling like I was dead in the water, and then just kind of getting to a place of understanding that at any given time, you're really stronger than you think you are, and you can get through things that you probably never saw coming, but you just kind of have to, even baby steps are still steps, and just kind of take it, one step at a time. And I was originally working with production for that as well. And I just didn't think that I was really interested in making my sound be more blues and more rock and more like authentic to who I am as a Detroit girl, and just like a classic rock soul real lover. And I just really needed that sound, and I was just having a hard time kind of getting it there through that production experience. So I just decided to take it on myself, honestly. So the whole project is produced by me in this room with these guitars and those guitars and this computer. And I just made it myself.
Great. Now on other questions, you inspired Stephanie, I think, let me see if I'm right in the pronunciation. Stephanie Ryan, another singer. You inspired her in one of her songs, which also touched my heart. Tell me about the song.
So that was actually Stephanie's idea for a song. She and I have been friends for a long time. We became friends over Instagram and became kind of fast friends and have a lot in common. And, we never really like co-wrote anything together. We're both songwriters, we're both artists. She's a little more country than I am, but we still have like a lot in common as far as like just philosophy goes, and writing, and just kind of attitude of where we want to go with our songwriting careers. And one day we were just like, hey, like we hang out, like we should just try to write. And she had the idea. And at the time I was married, so I kind of could get behind the message. Now I kind of feel like, unfortunately, what I was feeling when we were writing that song isn't what I feel now, but it's fine. It's still a good song, and she's it was her song anyway, so I'm just grateful to have been able to help, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad too, because, well, I'm married, so I sort of, it resonated with me, and I loved it a lot.
Yeah, it's a great song. Her idea was fabulous, and I was really flattered that she asked me to be a part of it.
And also, you did two Christmas carols.
Yeah.
One of them, you said that you didn't like All I Want for Christmas. You said you didn't like
hate it. I literally hate it.
Yes, but I never paid much attention to it. Well, I didn't pay much attention to it when from the original song, from the original single.
Yeah. It's hard to hear the lyrics with all the bells and whistles, is it not?
But the thing was, your version touched my heart. Your version touched my heart. I loved it. It just, let's just say I felt like it was Christmassy. I'm not gonna deny that I felt it was Christmassy. And your version of Angels We Have Heard on High. What inspired you to do the Angels We Have Heard on High?
Angels We Have Heard on High it was an accident, completely an accident. It was it was my first attempt at producing anything. I produced that song almost by myself. And then when I gave it to my producer, if you watch the video, the other guy that appears in that video, his name's Ben Miller. He was my producer, and he was like, that's pretty awesome. I think I can help you kick it up a notch. But yeah, so that was kind of my first go at trying to make something on my own.
Well, you did it. All I Want for Christmas Is You. Well, you really inspired me and inspired many of my listeners. And Angels We Have Heard on High, you not only took it one notch, you took it many notches.
Thank you.
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. You're really one of the greatest.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Will you be producing a Christmas album in the future?
I don't know about an album, maybe another single. honestly, the reason those two Christmas singles came to light was because number one, sometimes as a songwriter, we kind of get tricked into thinking we have to play that game. I haven't written an original Christmas song yet, so maybe that's next. I'm not sure. But then the All I Want for Christmas Is You was literally born out of the fact that I just can't stand the version that we always hear. I mean, it's like every drunk white girl's like favorite thing to sing during Christmas, and it's just like a bunch of screeching cats. It's so obnoxious, but that's just my opinion. Please don't fault me for it.
No, Sarah, I'm never faulting you for it. I too have my favorite Christmas. I too have my favorite Christmas carols. I have them from of all of the other countries, including the fact from Cuba, Galicia, and the Basque Country, where all of my ancestors came from. And I love all of the Christmas carols, but there are some that when you have one interpretation, there are some songs that are like, ugh. But
It's true.
there are some songs that are like, ugh. But when another person interprets it, it's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that the lyrics of the original song really do have a lot of meaning. And I really wanted to kind of strip it back so you could actually understand them, you know.
your version of All I Want for Christmas Is You was superior to the original.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
superior to the original. It for a Christmas carol to touch my heart or anybody's heart, you really did it. And you're an example. There are two, I only know two examples of songs that are like, ugh, and some people make it into a beauty. You were one of them. The other one was in the 60s. I was a child in the 60s, and I was a little kid. But there was one song in the 60s called Louie Louie. That
Oh God. Oh,
yeah, I never liked Louie Louie. But there was a group called the Sandpipers in the 60s. They went to Spain in the 60s. And in the 60s, they did their version of Louie Louie in Spanish.
Okay.
And in Spanish, it turned out to be a ballad.
Oh, interesting.
Instead of something that you couldn't understand. At the beginning, I didn't understand because it was all romantic. I only understood that it was like a ballad and it was very soft. And then when I grew up, I understood the lyrics and everything. But the lyrics in English were like, I don't understand anything. But the one in Spanish talked about a woman who was in the countryside, and that she sort of like left and went to another destiny.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
In other words, she was saying goodbye to everybody and then going to another destiny. To a destiny unknown. And it was recorded in Spain in the 60s.
Interesting.
It was never outside of Spain, because in the 60s, Spain had a military government. Now it's a monarchy, but at that time there was a military government. Vis-a-vis, they said it was a kingdom, but it was a military government. So nobody paid attention because of the politics. But I didn't care less. I was like, it was the ancestral homeland, and I said, wow, they produced something.
Mm-hmm.
One day I'm gonna send it to you by your Instagram one day in mail. So you can hear it. And again, where can we find your material?
Oh gosh, you can find, mostly I spend time on Instagram, but also I'm on TikTok. I have a website, sarahfaithmusic.com. My Instagram handle is sarahfaith_music. And my TikTok, I believe, is just Sarah Faith Music. I also have some things on YouTube. I'm trying to get better about posting things regularly on YouTube, but I'm also a team of one. So it's really hard to make my rounds in this social media world. I'm just doing my best.
Welcome to the club. I'm also doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing the same thing. So, and now that we talked about the music, your commercials of the hairspray, I love them a lot.
Oh gosh.
No, they're really great. They're really great. All of your stuff that you've published, they're already published in I publish them in all of my social media, and you're gonna be getting a lot of visits.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's
Because I have
great.
a worldwide audience. You already had one worldwide audience from Spain. This afternoon, when I was reviewing all of your material, I got one worldwide visit from Ukraine.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah,
I actually need to check the countries that we sell in. I don't know if we're in Spain yet. I don't know if we're in I know we're in like Lithuania. I know we just opened like in Mexico and Colombia. We're in just like a lot of random places right now.
yeah, and you'll probably be in Argentina soon, and you'll also probably be in Spain because many people loved your material in Spain.
That would be cool. That would be cool. And I don't have a really fast way of checking that out, so I have to figure that out later.
I checked it out on my WordPress.
Oh, you checked? No, I mean, did you check to see like where this stuff is sold?
No, I didn't check where the stuff is sold. I just simply published your videos,
I see.
retransmitted them, and somehow you got great reception in Spain and great reception in Ukraine.
It's because somehow, well, I don't know about the Ukraine thing, but somehow someone in Spain knows that I speak a little Spanish. They're like, oh, let's see if this girl's legit.
Well, that's partly, but there might probably be someone who knows about Spain and has Spanish blood, even though he's Midwesterner, and he probably transmitted it to everybody.
Hopefully.
So who knows?
Go, baby, go.
I'm also available in Spotify. No, I'm not available in Spotify yet, but I'm available in all of the social media.
Okay.
The good ones, the not so good ones, and the great ones, and the because I covered the earth. I'm in YouTube, I'm in WordPress, I'm in Rumble, Gab, BitChute, Brighteon, BitChute, and Gab. They're very not well known, but I just simply
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
Those are what they call alternative websites.
Oh, okay.
Some people have used it for their stuff. I'm using it to promote music.
Okay.
I'm using all of the mediums to promote music.
How did you get started in this, by the way?
I'll be glad to answer your question. I interviewed you, now you interview me. I love that.
I'm a very curious mind. I can't help it. I can't just be the only one talking.
I love it. Okay, the thing was, I'm a doctor by profession, although I deal in insurance.
Okay.
In the year 2002, I started having a health problem and I ended up in an intensive care and I started writing books. Then that in itself became, in the year 2006, I started taking journalism classes online. I took it from the Colegio Rosa Maria Calaf of Spain.
Okay.
I graduated from them with very high honors. And I even had a good thesis. Shakira and Gerard Piqué, will they get married or not? Or is it out there, or is it none of our business? I was of the premise that it was none of our business because they were two adults. And I had authorization from both of the representatives before doing the thesis.
I love that.
I didn't meet them personally. I wish I would have met both of them personally because I've been told that they're very nice people. But the representative said that they talked with them and they said, okay, let him do the journalism. I was in my 50s, and many people say men have midlife crisis. I too have a midlife crisis, but mine was not finding another date. I was like you. I was divorced, and then I remarried my first love. I married my first love, was my second wife.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But my first one was like, you're seeing other women, and I just simply had the journalism bug. At the age of 50. I graduated from Rosa Maria Calaf with a thesis, which was successful. Shakira and Gerard Piqué, none of your business. And I studied with the creme of the creme. Most of my classmates are in the Spanish government right now.
Okay.
In other words, the prime minister was a classmate. The minister of sexuality was my classmate. Minister of justice was also my classmate. They respected me because I was the oldest.
They have to. They respect their elders.
That's
Hispanic culture. If I learned nothing else when studying Spanish, they have a very big respect for elderlies.
I did not know that they were going to be in the future Spanish government.
Of course not.
But they were in there.
For
Plus,
all you know, you're part of the Spanish government too. You just don't know it yet.
then in the year 2006, I entered a contest by Univision. Become a sports reporter and talk about the World Cup 2006 by interviewing the locals in Miami.
Oh gosh.
I won the contest, and I was a local reporter for the year 2006 during the World Cup.
That's so cool.
And I was successful. Unfortunately, they didn't retain me for Univision. I wish they would have retained me for Univision.
I mean, would you like to work in TV still?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm going to get to that later on.
Okay.
2006, I said, okay, I graduated from journalism school. I did work at Univision. What next? And I was like at a crossroads. And of course, my first wife was like, ugh. So was my daughter. They were thinking that they were thinking like I was like with another woman. They said,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, in August 2006, I was at a hospital where I was working, and one of the nurses said, I think you chose the wrong career. You should have been a journalist. Here's a camera for you. She gave me the camera. I said, well, let me put the camera to use. And then my wife said, get me some food for supper at this restaurant, which I'm not going to mention, because now I'm going to tell you how the blog was born.
Oh gosh.
This was in August 2006, and I went to the restaurant. I had already had some contacts because before that I had the hobby of shortwave listening and writing the stations. I had contact with the BBC and everything because they also were interviewing me because of my books. But I'm in the restaurant, and then this was in August 2006, and there was like a big celebration, a big near riot, and I was taking the pictures. It was the day that Fidel Castro transferred all of his powers to Raúl Castro.
Oh boy.
Everybody knew that it was just simply cosmetic change.
Yeah, no, there's no real change of law
there. Was no real change. We usually consider Cuba a communist monarchy. But that wasn't the point. The point was I took pictures, and then someone from the BBC told me, hey, what's happening in Miami? When I told them what was happening, and they said, give us everything. So I gave them everything, but I also kept some things for myself and started publishing my blog of all the events. I even got a picture with one of the demonstrators. That in itself led to a big audience, an even bigger audience. In other words, my blog was born in Spanish, El Noticiero RCAG. It was growing. And then in the year 2008, I was invited to go to China during the Olympics. But I was told to leave my laptop and everything behind. Of course, I didn't want to take a camera or a laptop to China. I wanted to let the Chinese do all the promoting. And they did all the promotion for me, which increased my status here in Miami. And it also increased it in Ohio. Of all places, it increased in Ohio. It also increased amongst people from the Midwest and the South. And there were many photos of me as an emperor. There was a photo of me as a bartender getting everybody plastered. It was a television commercial that said, enjoy the beer. Enjoy the beer. It's a global phenomenon. And everybody got drunk.
Are you Googleable, Dr. Rob?
I'm Googleable. Look me under Roberto Alvarez-Galloso.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And then afterwards, after China, everything went downhill. My first wife had enough of me. She and my daughter decided to do democratic elections in 2011. For those who say that the Latin world does not believe in democracy, remember that most of us either have been in the United States since we were kids or were born here. And there was some semblance of democracy in Latin America compared with other countries. And there was also once a semblance of, well, Spain is very new in democracy. But that's not the case. The case was that my wife and my daughter had democratic elections, and they voted 2-1 to throw me out of the house. They sent me from Little Havana to Kendall, where I'm now living here.
Oh my
They said, we're
god.
going to leave you broke. We're going to leave you destitute. We're going to leave you without everything.
Oh, what jerks.
And what happened? I was only allowed to take whatever possessions that I had and stuff it in my Chevy Cobalt. I left. I had to rebuild everything. My blog was dying, and then I was sent to the very far away areas of Kendall, including the areas close to Florida City and Homestead. I said, what do I do now? I became a Christian, went to church. The Christians accepted me. And some of the stars in Spanish also accepted me, and then I was making a comeback. Then, of course, the blog also has to do with the fact that I finally reconnected with my first love after 20 years. We married, became husband and wife, and then afterwards my blog started growing. And then in the year 2013, I received a LinkedIn from Anna Maria Island Radio from two people, Mike Blanchette and Robert Herman. Please come with us and do a soccer segment. I did a soccer segment every week from here in Miami, and I made 2 or 3 trips to Anna Maria Island. And for those who are not aware of Anna Maria Island, it's a little city in the center of Florida, nestled in between Tampa and Sarasota.
Okay.
And they had this radio called AMI Radio. I was one of the announcers in soccer. But since I had a love of Americana music, because beforehand, I was one of those who loved the artists. I loved the independent artists. Maybe because I also had artists in the family. Maybe also because I've read the history of Latin America, Spain, and Cuba, on how many artists were marginalized after revolutions or coups. Not because of the politics, because just simply because the coup leader or the revolutionary leader either did not like the artist or just simply thought that the artist could be used as a clown. That is very prevalent in Latin America. For an artist who is not well liked by one leader to either be marginalized or used as a clown or just simply made into public ridicule. It may be probably because of that I started supporting the independent artists, and because I was loving the music. Robert Herman said, well, I could get all of your CDs, but we want you to host we want you to host a country and rock program. I said, I only do sports. I never hosted a music program. You're going to do it right now.
Or else.
I did it. I brought many artists from different areas of the United States, except Hollywood and New York. I didn't want to go with the mainstream. I wanted to go with the people who actually have the talent, who deserved recognition. And we were a success in Anna Maria Island. So I had 2 blogs in one, which you could see on YouTube, one in Spanish, one in English. The one in English, Robert Herman passed away after a struggle with lung cancer. His widow, Casey Hoffman, told me, take we called the program the Americana Bistro Grill, because I had a love of food and a love of restaurants. I wanted to give it a restaurant ambience.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided after Robert Herman died, I did the Americana Bistro Grill for the country and the rock and everything else. I did the AG News Show, which was the English version of Noticiero RCAG. That way, people in America and Canada could get a chance, especially those from the Midwest, the Rocky Mountains, and the South. Since then, we have been doing a lot of broadcasting. We don't have too much since 2020, but the people that we have interviewed in the Americana Bistro Grill and the AG News Show, we have done a lot to promote their careers. And in Spanish, on Noticiero RCAG, we have done enough to help the Spanish-speaking artists not only gain recognition, but also to gain respectability in a medium. This time I'm talking about Latin America and Spain, in a medium where when fortunes change, so do the careers. And I think we've done really well. And we're not growing that much, but we could care less if we were growing. I would have loved to have money with this, but again, I didn't go into this for the money. I went into this because I wanted to help our artists. Mm-hmm. The one in the Spanish-speaking world, and I also wanted to help all of our artists in America, in the English-speaking world of America. in the Midwest, in the South, Rocky Mountains, the ones that are ignored in Nashville, the ones that are ignored in New York, the ones that are ignored in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and the ones that really have the great talent. We bring them in, and the rest is the rest. The rest is history.
Yeah. In
fact, in Spanish, I've already told many people in Spanish that they're more than invited to come and be interviewed. Not just the Christians, but also the seculars. And we also do the same thing for the people in America, the US and the English-speaking world, because we're all Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Come one, come all. You're more than invited. Many times. Your videos, they touch my heart, and they have also helped me in my worst moments. Which was true when I had the hernia compressing the aorta.
Mm-hmm.
All of you are invited. Stephanie is also invited to be interviewed too. Anyone in Nashville who wants to be interviewed, we will gladly give them a voice. We will gladly give them a voice and their career. And in Christmas, if they have any Christmas songs, we'll be glad to include them if they interpret it in the interviews.
Okay.
We're all open to everybody. And Sarah, keep going. Don't allow yourself to limit yourself. In fact, your hairspray commercials are really great. What got you into hairspray?
What's that?
What got you into the hairspray?
Oh gosh. Well, basically it got to be like, I'd been in Nashville for about 4 years, and I was doing it full time, and I knew when I moved here that I didn't really want to have another job, because I wanted to make sure that I was going to take the music seriously, and I didn't want to rely on any other crutches to kind of bail myself out of music. But then it just kind of got to a point where I was like, well, I need to do something. Like, I'm putting so much pressure on myself music wise to make money that it's taking the joy out of the music, because I mean, there's just like such a convoluted world sometimes in the music industry, and it's just kind of hard to figure out how to be a songwriter and play original music, but also make money and not like give into the system. It's just kind of a whole thing. So I knew that I needed something really, really flexible that was going to allow me to still be a musician and still build a life on my own terms. So that's why I kind of started doing direct sales, and it's a naturally based hair care and skincare company that I super align with. I love what they do. I love their mission. So it made it really easy for me to make the choice to sign on.
Great. I'm really glad for you. You're one of the greatest. And I just want to wish you the best. From here in Miami to the rest of the world, this is the Americana Bistro Grill with Roberto Alvarez-Galloso, also known as Dr. Rob. Signing off. Peace in, peace out, and peace everywhere. If you have any words, Sarah, for the world, go right ahead.
No, honestly, I love what you're doing. I love your heart that you have for independent artists and music, and anyone that hears this. I don't know, I'm just so thankful to have had the space to get in front of new people and meet new people. That's kind of the point of all of this, I would say, is just the opportunity to have platforms like this that I can kind of introduce myself and give people an idea of who I am and why I am the way that I am.
Yeah. You're going to go places.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.